Today we're back with a Denis Villeneuve-directed American thriller from a screenplay by Aaron Guzikowski that was released in 2013. Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, Viola Davis, Bello, Terrence Howard, Melissa Leo, and Paul Dano are among the cast members. The plot revolves around the kidnapping of two young girls in Pennsylvania and the police's following research for the kidnapper. Following the arrest and release of a minor suspect, the father of one of the daughters takes matters into his own hands. Hello and welcome to Binge King. Before we start, go ahead and subscribe. Also press the bell button to get the latest updates about new movies. Watch out for spoilers and take care. Without any further delay, let us start. Keller Dover and his son Ralph are deer hunting. And when Keller recites the Lord's Prayer and grins approvingly at the teen, Ralph drops a buck. Keller encourages his kid to always be ready on the way home. The Dover house is passed by an ancient RV. Later they discuss the family finances. Ralph inquires as to why they did not rent out the grandfather's old apartment, to which Keller responds that it is in too bad of a shape to rent out. Keller, his wife Grace, their son and daughter, and their friends the Birches stroll to a neighbor's house for Thanksgiving meal. The family enjoy each other's company. While the adults cook, Anna Dover climbs aboard the ancient RV parked by the curb. They discover someone inside and return to the Birch house. Franklin Birch is a nice guy who plays a bad trumpet. The younger 6-year-old children depart after supper to return to Anna's residence to retrieve her safety whistle, which she is required to carry at all times. Keller notices the females haven't returned and that the youths haven't escorted the two children later. Keller looks around his house but can't find anything. Ralph returns from his search and discusses the RV that he saw earlier. Detective Loki orders Chinese food for himself and strikes up a conversation with the waitress. The ringer on his phone beeps. The white RV is discovered parked outside a petrol station adjacent to a wooded area after a police search. When Det, Loki, and Case's lead investigator confronts Alex Jones, the RV's driver, Alex panics and tries to flee but crashes into the trees. Alex is interrogated, but it is discovered that he has the IQ of a 10-year-old and rarely talks. Detective Loki pays a visit to Alex's aunt, Holly Jones, who raised him when his parents died when he was 6 years old. After a domestic argument with his aunt, Alex's uncle moved out a few years ago. Alex spends the most of his nights in the RV and has few possessions. There is no forensic proof that the girls were dragged into the RV or struggled inside, and Alex's limited IQ implies he couldn't have covered up such evidence. During the night, a large number of volunteers search the woods for the girls. Loki visits the Birch residence and improves their daughter's photography. At the Dovers, Loki informs Grace that they passed their lie detector exams, and he inquires as to why the girls fled. Grace weeps and claims the girls were happy, and Loki swears he will locate her. Keller greets him as if he believes it is the RV driver. Loki tries to calm down the Dovers by telling them that the evidence against Alex Jones is poor. Due to his low IQ, polygraph tests on him are inconclusive, and he consistently denies ever seeing the children. Alex will be released in 2 days if the police are unable to find evidence against him. Loki requests that his captain keep Alex in custody for longer, but the senior refuses. Loki keeps him up to date on the search. Within a 10-mile radius of the girl's home, Loki interviews offenders. Loki discovers a tied and mummified body in a vault cellar belonging to Father Patrick Dunn. A round medallion with a maze-like design is worn on the body. Father Dunn states he has no idea who the man was, but during that confession the man confessed to killing 16 children and to having a disagreement. Father Dunn admits to persuading the guy to come to his house where he murdered him to safeguard the children and is charged with murder. The search for the forests and river is still going on. Keller discovers Alex's release date and assaults him in the police parking lot. They didn't cry until I left them, Alex says. Keller interprets this as proof that Alex told the girls, despite the fact that no one was close enough to hear it. After a brief conversation with Loki, Captain O'Malley gives Dover a warning and sends him home. Loki questions Alex and Holly about the parking lot incident at the Jones house. If Alex isn't truthful, he threatens to put the aunt in jail. He then walks away and takes a position in front of an old automobile. Grace is inconsolably upset, so Keller administers medication to help her sleep. He tells his son to be brave and responsible for his mother, and then he walks out of the house. Loki discovers that many of the bloody clothes were store-bought and saturated with pig's blood at Taylor's house. Loki discovers Taylor's footsteps and the identical type of sock Keller recognized from Taylor's house beneath a window outside the Dover house. When the drugged Anna and Joe try to flee, Anna is apprehended, but Joy manages to get away. Joy is discovered and admitted to the hospital. Keller torments Alex further, who cryptically mentions escaping from a maze. Keller pays a visit to Holly and learns that Alex's intellectual handicap is the result of a childhood mishap involving her husband's pet snakes. After their son died of cancer, Holly and her husband lost faith in religion and adopted Alex as a method to cope. She explains that before her husband vanished, they kidnapped children in order to exact vengeance on God for their son's death. Their first kidnapping was Alex and their second was Taylor. Keller is imprisoned in Holly's yard, where he discovers his daughter's whistle. Loki shows up at Holly's house to tell her that Alex has been located. He looks for Holly, who is giving Anna an injection after seeing a photo of the late spouse wearing the same maze necklace as the corpse in Dunn's cellar. Loki shoots and murders Holly, who then shoots and kills him. Loki then hurries Anna to the hospital. Anna and Joy pay a thank you visit to a bandaged Loki in his hospital room. Keller's wife admits that if her husband is found, he will be arrested. Loki returns to Holly's residence after his release, where he barely hears a whistle blowing. That is all for today, folks. Tell us in the comment section what is your point of view about this amazing movie. See you soon with another amazing video.